For decades, growth was the ultimate goal in business. If a company wasn't growing, investors got nervous. If revenue slowed, executives faced pressure. If expansion stalled, Wall Street started asking questions. Growth wasn't just important, it was everything. Businesses opened new locations, entered new markets, launched new products, hired more employees, and spent billions of dollars trying to grow faster than their competitors. The assumption was simple: bigger was better, faster was better, more was better. But in 2026, something unusual is happening. Across corporate America, many of the country's largest companies are behaving differently. They're still investing, still innovating, still looking for opportunities, but they're no longer chasing growth with the same intensity they once did. Instead of talking about expansion, they're talking about efficiency. Instead of discussing scale, they're discussing discipline. Instead of focusing on how fast they can grow, they're focusing on how strong they can become. And that raises an important question: why has corporate America suddenly stopped chasing growth? The answer begins with uncertainty. Businesses have always dealt with uncertainty, but today's environment feels different. Consumer behavior changes rapidly, technology evolves constantly, economic conditions shift unexpectedly, and market forecasts seem less reliable than they once did. Executives have learned an important lesson over the past several years. The future is becoming harder to predict, and when the future becomes harder to predict, aggressive growth strategies become riskier. That's because growth often requires commitment. New locations, new employees, new infrastructure, new investments. All of those decisions assume certain things about tomorrow. If those assumptions prove wrong, growth can quickly become a burden. Many companies understand this, and that's why they're becoming more cautious. One of the biggest reasons growth is losing its place as the top priority is because efficiency has become more valuable. A decade ago, investors often rewarded companies for expanding as quickly as possible. Today, they're asking different questions. Can the company generate profits? Can it manage costs? Can it maintain margins? Can it survive unexpected challenges? Businesses understand this shift. As a result, executives are paying closer attention to productivity than pure expansion. They're looking for ways to do more with what they already have. That trend is appearing across almost every industry. Retailers are optimizing operations. Manufacturers are improving productivity. Technology companies are streamlining costs. Financial firms are focusing on operational discipline. Different industries, same mindset: get stronger before getting bigger. Technology is also playing a major role. For years, growth often meant hiring more people and expanding operations. Today, businesses have access to powerful tools that can improve efficiency without requiring massive expansion. Automation, advanced software, data analytics, digital systems. These technologies allow companies to increase output without increasing costs at the same pace. That changes the equation. Executives no longer automatically assume that growth requires larger organizations. In many cases, smarter operations are becoming more valuable than bigger operations. Another factor is consumer behavior. Customers today are less predictable than ever before. People compare prices instantly, switch brands easily, and change purchasing habits quickly. A business can experience strong demand one quarter and completely different conditions the next. That unpredictability makes executives cautious. When customer behavior becomes harder to forecast, companies become less willing to make large commitments based on assumptions about future demand. Instead, they focus on flexibility, and flexibility often means growing more carefully. The investment community is reinforcing this behavior. Wall Street still appreciates growth, but investors are increasingly rewarding businesses that demonstrate resilience, strong cash flow, healthy balance sheets, operational efficiency, financial discipline. These qualities are attracting attention because investors understand that uncertainty isn't disappearing anytime soon. The companies that thrive over the next decade may not be the fastest growing companies. They may be the companies best prepared for unexpected changes. Corporate leaders understand this. and their strategies reflect it. Another reason businesses are pulling back from aggressive growth is the rising cost of mistakes. When economic conditions are predictable, companies can recover from bad decisions relatively easily. When conditions are uncertain, mistakes become more expensive. An expansion project that misses expectations can create long-term problems. An acquisition can become a burden. An oversized workforce can become difficult to manage. Executives know this. That's why many companies are making smaller bets, testing opportunities before fully committing, protecting flexibility, and preserving options. Options have become incredibly valuable in modern business. Perhaps the biggest reason corporate America is changing its mindset is that many executives no longer believe uncertainty is temporary. For years, businesses treated uncertainty as an occasional challenge, something unusual, something that would eventually disappear. Today, many leaders see uncertainty differently. They see it as permanent. Technology will continue changing industries, consumer behavior will continue evolving, economic conditions will continue shifting, competition will continue intensifying. The future may never become fully predictable again, and if that's true, business strategies must adapt. That's exactly what's happening. You can hear it in earnings calls. Executives talk about resilience, adaptability, productivity, operational excellence, financial strength. These themes appear repeatedly because they're becoming central to corporate strategy, not because companies have stopped caring about growth, but because they have realized growth alone isn't enough. Growth without resilience can create vulnerabilities. Growth without discipline can create risks. Growth without flexibility can become a problem. What's fascinating is that many businesses are actually performing well. They're generating profits, growing revenue, and creating value, yet they're still becoming more cautious. That tells you something important. This shift isn't being driven by fear, it's being driven by strategy. Corporate America isn't retreating, it's recalibrating. The focus is moving away from growth at any cost and towards sustainable growth. Growth that can survive uncertainty, growth that doesn't depend on perfect conditions, growth built on strong foundations. So why has corporate America suddenly stopped chasing growth? Because the business environment has changed. The future feels less predictable. Consumers are harder to forecast. Technology is reshaping industries faster than ever. And executives have learned that resilience may be just as important as expansion. The biggest companies in America haven't abandoned growth. Far from it. They still want new customers, new products, new markets, and new opportunities. But they're pursuing those goals differently, more carefully, more strategically, and with a greater emphasis on strength than speed. Because in today's business world, getting bigger isn't always the smartest move. Sometimes the smartest move is making sure you're strong enough for whatever comes next. And that's exactly the lesson corporate America appears to be learning in 2026.